All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Vinny Presents. Today with us, we have from originally from the streets of New York by way of San Antonio, Texas. Here's a guy who's been through a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles, and he's here to tell his story. His name's Frank Parisi. Frank, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me, Vin. My name's Frank Parisi. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and I've been sober about 13 years now. I grew up in Little Italy. Recovery took me out to Texas, and I've been here now for about 12 years. And then last year, I suffered a cough. I had a cough then, and I went to four different doctors, and nobody knew what was wrong with me, and it led me into the hospital, needing a heart transplant. So that was some crazy year. And during this past year, I had written a book while I was in the hospital, and it became a bestseller in three countries. And I started a coaching program, and I had opened up a drug and alcohol and substance abuse facility this year. I had partnered with that. So in the darkest of my times this year, I created a lot of beauty.
And you know what, Frank? That's usually the time where most things happen. I notice even personal experiences. It seems like there's a common thread when it comes to hitting that dark place in your life, and then all of a sudden, all these things start to emerge out of you, which are very good uh, and very helpful for other people. Now, for those that may not know you, just released a great book, Embrace Abundance. You are in the mental health and substance abuse world. You just started a facility over there in San Antonio, and now tell us about the journey, because it sounds like your awakening happened right around like 2011.
Yes. So I grew up a lot of dysfunction. I got to get into all that, but uh, I became addicted to opiates, at the early 20s and suffered with that for a good 7 years. And then in 2011, finally took self accountability for myself, and looked myself in the mirror and said, you know what, it doesn't matter what's happened in your life. Take full responsibility for where you're at. And I radically accepted where I was at in my life, and I had a vision that I wanted to be somewhere else. So I took accountability and I started taking action, and I started pouring into my recovery, and it completely changed my life. It changed the way I look at the world. I started to attend AA meetings and work the 12 steps, and it gave me a whole new outlook on life. It totally gave me an awakening. And I knew at that point, once I was able to get the monkey off my back and get stable in my recovery and start to give back to others, I felt really good. I felt connected to God. I felt in a higher vibration, something that I had never experienced before in my life. And I knew that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I knew that I wanted to just continue to upgrade, I say, through personal development, through God, and through the service of others, and just continue to become a better version of myself. And I didn't realize that when I was getting sober at the time, Vince, that I was doing it not for me, because I grew up in a lot of dysfunction with a lot of trauma, and I look at it like it was generational. My family held these generational curses. And at the time when I got sober, I didn't realize that it wasn't about me, it was about my son. It was about me creating and developing a whole new human being, the greatest version of myself, so that when my son was here, he's going to be able to have a whole new paradigm shift in the way he thinks and the way he acts, because his father is a completely different human being. Because I thought we follow in the footsteps of our fathers, if we have fathers. And that's just a generational thing that happened in my family. It's just been, I truly believe, and I could get into that as well. Like, I believe it was all from past. I'm talking about generations and generations of us continuing to just not win. And I had to be the one in my family to break that curse. So that's what I did, man. And I've just been on for the past 13, plus years, I've been sober. I've just been about service of others, but constantly being around people smarter and better than me. This way I could constantly upgrade. putting my recovery first, but there's more to it than just that.
Yeah, several points you made there, Frank, that I can definitely identify with. And one, most of all, of course, is when you have a child involved, when there's something, someone that you want to live for, that you want to create a better model for. Because at a certain point, you make so many mistakes. And listen, I'm a street guy like you are, same East Coast, neighborhood type thing, and you make a lot of mistakes, unfortunately. At least our generation,
Mm-hmm.
in just being around certain elements and being around that environment. The
Mm-hmm.
good news is if you break out of it and you have that awakening, like you said you had, then the good news is you can, if you have a child or someone that you can, even a nephew or just someone that you can try to motivate and try to get them away from that type of lifestyle. It's really fulfilling, and it's a way to really kind of fix some of the wrongs of your own life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, last year, now, Vin, I want to talk a little bit about this. Last year, I've been sober 13 years. And then last year I had this cough.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. I had this cough, and talking about my recovery, how my recovery has played such an intricate role in my life because it's given me tools to be able to respond in the hardest of times the way most people maybe would falter. And last year, I suffered a cough, and I had gone to 4 different doctors, and nobody knew what was wrong with me. I went to 2 specialists finally. I was traveling around the country and they were telling me that I have allergies, and it wasn't allergies. The cough got worse. I went to a gastrointestinal. I went to a pulmonologist finally, and I had a cardiologist appointment. And the pulmonologist said that I had the rarest form of pneumonia called organized pneumonia. And he started me on all this high dose of steroids, and it was going to be 6 months of treatments. And I just got worse, and the cough persisted. I told them that it's getting worse. They gave me more medication. And then on May 8th of last year, I coughed up a half a bottle of water, but it was filled with blood. So I coughed up a half a bottle of blood, and that morning I told my wife we have to go see the doctor, and I went to the doctor that morning. They admitted me to the hospital, and I'm just talking about this because everything that I've been through in my life and the man that I developed, even for my son, I'm gonna get into all this now. Um, I go to the hospital and they admit me at this hospital here, and I'm in Austin, Texas. My treatment center is in San Antonio, but I live in Austin. So I go to Austin, the Baylor Scott and White Lakeway, and they admit me, and they tell me that I have sepsis. So they start treating me with fluids. They pump me with like 17 gallons of fluid. My wife leaves because my family's in New York and we're here alone in Texas, and my son's 6 years old at the time. So finally, I'm there for like 10 hours, and they finally realize it's not sepsis. One of the nurses misses the pick in my arm. She put the wrong pick, so she infiltrated my arm with a pressor medication, and I got a third-degree burn from the inside out. And then finally, a doctor walks in and goes, "Mr. Parisi, you don't have sepsis. You have 9% ejection fracture. Your heart's failing, and your liver and your kidneys are failing, and we can't save your life here. We have to take you to a place called Temple, Texas, with a town in Texas called Temple, Texas, with a town of 30,000 people." I'm probably going to blow your mind, Vince. There's a town of 30,000 people, but it's called Temple, Texas. And this is the place that's going to save my life. And I'm like, what? I've been in shape my whole life. I've been working out my whole life. I have no comorbidities. I had a cough. Nobody knew what was wrong with this cough. Every doctor misdiagnosed me. Now you're telling me I'm going to die. And I felt like I was dying, but nobody believed me because I was on 60 milligrams of prednisone that the doctors gave me. And they say that that makes you feel like your body wants to jump out of itself. But I was in this thing called atrial fibrillation. So now I drive an hour and a half to this little hick town, brother, in the middle of Texas that's supposed to save my life. Not Austin, not San Antonio, not Houston, not Dallas,
The Bath
Temple.
Road.
Temple. So I get there, and then here I am, and my wife is there waiting with a picture of my son, begging me to live because the doctors are saying that you may not make it through. We have to put you on a ventilator now. So that all happens, and it just gets crazy, Vince. It gets more and more crazy. I have like an out of body experience. I literally die. And there's a doctor there from New York, Dr. Reddy, that reverses everything, which is why the actual uh, cardiac thoracic unit in Temple, Texas is this good because of a doctor named Dr. Reddy from New York. He was at Mount Sinai and I think Lenox Hospital, a few hospitals in New York. He brought the whole team from New York to Temple, Texas. And then there was another doctor, my doctor, Dr. Hernandez from Mexico City. They created one of the greatest cardiothoracic units in actually the country in Temple, Texas. Spiritual, weird stuff. And I'm not this type of guy. I come from literally. I'm not even religious. You understand? I'm not this type of guy. But when I left my body, I went to a dark space and there was like a portal and I'm looking down at my wife and me. My wife's next to me and I'm in a ventilator. So and then my friend comes down with me. Okay. He comes down with me and he's going to bring me up. And there's a voice that's telling me that they want me to come up. And at that time, I had a vision of my son growing up without. You see, I didn't know at the time that when I was getting sober, that all of this, my life is not about me, Vince. It's not about me. None of this is about, I'm abundantly clear. I've been through some weird stuff and I've seen things that most haven't. So here I am. I'm like, I need to come back for my son. Because if I were to pass, it'd be the same pile of shit generationally without me here to guide him. So at that moment, then I have a vision of my son growing up without me. And I don't know if it was God or whatever it was, let me come back, but the voice told me that I'm going to suffer. And at that time, I didn't know what was wrong with me. So I come back. Imagine this. I come back. I'm like, maybe that didn't happen. This could be delusion. You know, your brain's all messed up. You're literally dying. You have, who knows? I don't know. I've never been in this experience before. So now this is crazy because I was coughing this orange stuff up. So they got my whole room. You probably weren't expecting all this today. They got my whole room boarded up with plastic and the doctors are walking in with hazmat suits. They got a pump in my leg and I'm in the bed for 9 days and no one knows what's wrong with me. But they're telling me I might need a heart transplant or a mitral valve replacement. And I'm telling them I was doing 20 pull-ups 2 weeks ago in the gym. What are you talking about? This makes no sense. I've been working out my whole life. What does this mean? I have no comorbidities. I don't even know what you're talking about. I had a cough. So they think I have tuberculosis because I'm coughing this orange stuff up. So that's why they have the hazmat suits on. So now I booked out a medium like 4 months in advance, and now I'm in the hospital on May 18th. I got this medium appointment. My wife doesn't want me to have it because I wanted to talk to my father. My father died 3 years earlier. When I was dying, I didn't know I was dying, but I knew something was wrong with me with this cough. I wanted to talk to my father. I wanted to be near my mother. I don't know why. Like when I felt myself dying in this process, that's what was happening. It was weird. And so I booked this appointment and the lady was like 4 months out, but here I am fighting for my life in the hospital, not knowing what's wrong with me, like what's going on. And I got this medium appointment and my wife doesn't want me to have it. And I say, I don't care. This is all making no sense. What's going on here? How do I talk to my son about this? How do I explain any of this to anybody? I don't even know what's going on here. So I talked to the medium and she knows everything. And you could Google my name and you could find out stuff about my father and you could find out stuff. You could look at Facebook maybe. And there's a lot of things you could guess nowadays and have right. But some of the team, listen, Vince, I'm in Temple, Texas, 30,000 people. One of the PA's fathers was a guy like us that grew up in the street, like my father. What is he doing in Temple, Texas? One of the other PAs, the wife went to the same college as my wife in Staten Island. Wow. She baked her favorite rainbow cookies. There's signs, and maybe this is a coincidence. I always say this. The medium goes, she knew everything about my father. She had 2 things wrong, but the one thing she had right, well, she had everything right, but I'll tell you that, at the moment, she had 2 things wrong to me. But the one thing she said to me, she goes, "Are all your doctors from New York?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Your father sent them there for you." Maybe that's a coincidence too. She had two other things. She said, "He keeps telling me about a birthday and a pendant and a chain." And I said, "I have no idea." My father's mother died when he was 14. The next day, my mom comes to the hospital. I'm in the bed still. I can't walk. All this weird stuff's happening. I said, "This lady had everything right, but she had two things wrong." I said, "How'd she know the doctors were here, Ma?" I said, "She had two things wrong." She said, "She had the birthday. She's telling me about a birthday and a pendant and a chain. My dad's mother died when he was 14. I never knew her. Her birthday was May 19th. The pendant and chain, when my father died, my Aunt Dolores gave a pendant and a chain to my mother of his mother. She gave it to my Aunt Camille, his sister. I FaceTime my Aunt Camille in a bed in the hospital, and she's wearing the chain. I never knew about this pendant and chain. Maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe I'm on this with you because it's a coincidence. Maybe these people are coming in my life because it's a coincidence. I don't know, but I knew at that time, Vince, I knew because everything that I've been through in my life, all the hard I've been through and the man that I developed for my son, that I was going to fight. And I had to get up, bro. I had to get up. I had to learn how to walk again. I used to bench press 445 when I was young. I was tough. My 445 was 10 steps. It was fucking 10 steps. You got to learn how to walk. Everything's spinning. But I knew, and I was so down, brother. I was so down. I needed love. And the only way I could get love is by giving it. I had to start to give love, and everybody in that hospital. The nurses, I bought them breakfast, lunch, dinner. I started to walk, bro. They put a pump in my chest. 13 staples to keep me alive, to see now if my heart's going to recover. I started to walk. I started to squat. I thought of my son. I had the picture of my son right there. I had the picture of my son the whole time. I started to walk a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4, 5 fucking miles because everything I've been through, because of my recovery, because of the personal development, because of God, because of my faith. I abandoned everything. I'm walking 5 fucking miles with this pump in my chest. They got me a Superman cape in the fucking hospital. I started to walk, and every time I would play it, they would play the Superman music. Every time I would walk out of the room, I'd bring light in the darkest of times, and I started to get love back, bro. I had other patients walking while we hit Code Blue. While I'm hearing someone else die, I'm walking with the fucking patients. Let's go. We're going to fucking live. I kept thinking of my son. This life's not about me. It was about service of others. I still was calling people up that I sponsored in AA. How you doing, bro? In my debt. Because of the man that I developed, because my son's watching me. Because I'm creating new fucking DNA for him. No more shit in my family. Only fucking growth, only evolution and elevation. And I started to think I got to write a book because if I die, I want him to know the man that I am, the man that I developed. I want my future generations to know this shit. So I wrote the fucking book, bro. I started writing a book. Me and my wife in the hospital in the darkest of times. And then I had to get my arm debrided, bro. I had to get my arm debrided. And now they told me you need a heart transplant. Imagine this. I woke up on May 8th. I didn't think any of this was going to happen. I had no idea. I had people flying in from all over praying on me. I became friends with Steve Wisniewski. I'm a big diehard Raider fan. I don't know. God brought him in my life. Giant fucking offensive lineman, my life, praying over me, telling me, Frank, if God wants your heart, he loves you more than you could ever love yourself or your family. It's his, and he's right. He's right. Complete surrender and faith in the darkest of fucking times. I still trust in God. And then I had to get my arm debrided, and I'm like, all right, good. They put me on the heart transplant list. When you get on a heart transplant, you got to talk to a social worker, a psychologist, colonoscopy, teeth, blood pressure. It's 20 different tests. Then they meet for your fate. They meet and discuss. You either could get a heart, maybe, or you get this other thing called LVAD machine. It's a pump that you imagine this 43 years old. You could go a pump in your chest, okay? Tubes come out of your stomach, and you can plug it in for 18 minutes. You can't go in water no more. These are my options. But because of my recovery, because of the personal development, because of my faith, because I still trusted God, and I said, you're always working in my favor. You know better than me, just like Steve told me. So he would come play over me, this giant man. I'm emaciated in the hospital, playing over me with holy water. God working through him into me, feeding me with love so I can get up. And just so here I am now. I get the arm debrided, and they come in. They say, "Listen, it's gonna be 6 to 8 weeks because you're O positive, but to get this heart. The only reason I'm even on the list is because I had this pump in my chest that was keeping me alive." And so they say, "All right, it's gonna be 6 to 8 weeks." The next day they come in and I got me a heart one day. This all could be coincidence, Vince. The fact that all these other people are coming into my life could be because I didn't look for nobody. This all could be coincidence, all of it, or there's something happening. I don't know. And again, I'm not this guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's something happening. And it's like, then you have to think of that too. Like someone's dying to give me more life. What am I doing with that? How am I not going to serve to the end? And then
Frank,
June 3rd, I get my heart, bro. I got a girl's heart, 19 years old, all connected. And none of this is even real. I know it probably just blew your mind, but it's just my experience, man. You know?
now, Frank, listen, man, I love you, buddy. Like, seriously, everything you said is just like, if that's not a wake up call to so many people watching this. And you know what? As you're talking, I'm saying to myself, the word that continues to stick out of my mind is service. Service. You're talking about Steve being there at your side in service to you, you trying to be in service to your family. And I think someone from beyond or people from beyond the other world that are trying to be in service to you, to sending you all these people and these things and these resources to help. Dude, I don't know what to say besides it's a beautiful thing, man. And this, if those of you don't believe, I mean, these type of stories, coincidence, no such thing, absolutely not. You know that, I know that, but man, it's all about the faith. You're right. I agree with everything you said.
And then even after this, the heart and finding out like the universe is always working in our favor, Vince. Here's why. I'm so clear. Even my business was taken from me this year. The eclipse happened. And then all of a sudden, me and my partner, everything split. Everything was good in 1 month. Everything split. It was disgusting. But the universe is still always working in our favor. 16 biopsies this year. I lived through all of them because I could die in every one. They go on my neck. They take 3 pieces of my heart out. You know, while I'm awake, I don't even take no pain meds because I'm an ex-opiate addict. Still have faith in all of it. God knew. He stripped my heart from me. He stripped my business from me. But he kept me vision. I still had vision. My book, my coaching program. What's next? I partnered with another drug and alcohol treatment center. Even in the worst of times, he removes things for a reason. Because what happened to me was through this whole process over the past year, because June 3rd, I received my heart transplant in 2023. And then in April, my business dealings got taken from me. So literally, I was stripped of all of my income, my business, and my heart. Greatest gift. The universe is always working in our favor. He stripped my heart from me because he needed to put Kaylee's young heart in my body because he knew that old heart held old generational curses. And it wasn't going to survive for me. It wasn't going to survive for him to do what he needed me to do while I'm here. I need more time to do his work while I'm here. So that's why he gave me her heart. And he stripped the business from me because I needed to get clear on who I truly was. Who is who, what is what, where I want to go, how I'm going to get there, and who I'm going to do it with. He made it super clear for me. And the universe is always working in my favor. And that's why my book became a bestseller in 3 countries. That's why I'm starting to do coaching now. And I have people from around the country. I even have a person in Dubai in my coaching program. That's why I still had the vision to go in and partner with people that I align with, that have the same core values. That's another thing. I will never move with anyone. Whenever anybody sees me with anybody, it's all through alignment, vision, and core values. Otherwise, we're not in the same circle. There's certain non-negotiables on loyalty, respect, brotherly love, service, empathy. These are things that I live with within my circle. And if you don't have that core value, then we don't have the same circle. So for me, I got clear on everything in my life. What a blessing. What a blessing all of this is. And even in the darkest of times, that's why it's keep the faith. God and the universe is always working in our favor. But it's through the work that we do that I believe that I was able to respond in the manner that I have through all the obstacles because I'm constantly investing in God, my personal development, my recovery, and the service of others. And when we do that, it doesn't matter what we face in life, we could overcome and thrive.
Frank, you're a living example of that, my friend. And I've come to know a lot of recovery instructors and leaders and people in the field, some of the most enlightened, strongest people I've ever met in my life. Because let's face it, I mean, you've been through more hell than the average recovery in a person. But and I think you might be at the top of the list actually in all the stuff you've been through. But some of the most enlightened, positive. These are the people that really, I think we underappreciate in society.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm here, my brother. My main goal is to bring hope to everybody, not just people in recovery. Whatever you're dealing with through my journey, let me bring you hope because hope creates belief and belief changes our world, brother. Belief changes people. That's how I had the belief. Someone else gave me the hope when I was struggling with my addiction to give me the belief. But now it's bigger. God removed my heart, so it's just bigger than recovery. I could reach so many more. I'm doing a lot with my hospital, with my doctor. I do a lot of speaking with him. I'm doing a lot of motivational speaking now. So just to uplift anybody, whatever you're dealing with, doesn't matter where you're at currently in your life, have a vision, make agreements with yourself, shut the noise off, and take massive action daily until the vision is a reality.
With being in the field that you're in, of course, you come across a lot of people. They're nowhere near where you're at or where you've been. I mean, a few people have or are, but for those that are watching this and maybe they're kind of lost, maybe they're in a substance abuse issue, maybe they're depressed, maybe it's just something they're stuck in a bad place. What would you say would be the first step for those people that are watching to try to get that hope back and that belief back?
Oh, start surrounding yourself around people in recovery or people that are of a growth mindset. I mean, there's AA meetings, there's NA meetings, there's Celebrate Recovery, there's all different types of groups. But start surrounding yourself with the energy that you want to become. That's just life lessons. Like we are the sum of the five. I've lived many lives, Vince. I lived the street life, so that was the energy I attracted. And then when I got recovered, I lived a recovered life. And then things evolve in our life and we want family. So I started hanging around family men that have core values. And then I wanted to become a businessman. So I started to hang around people that were successful in business. And we are what we hang around. So start to hang around what you want to become.
Yeah, and I know even as a young guy, I mean, we're around the same age, so you can get yourself easily in a bad place with bad things with bad people. And it just life is too short. And it's what scares me now. And I have three young children, and what scares me now is the way society has made it too convenient to just do the wrong thing. And I
Mm.
remember my dad, God rest his soul, he used to say, it's easy to get in trouble, very easy to get in trouble, sometimes impossible to get out.
Yep.
So that's an important lesson, and we need good leaders, good fathers like yourself, good guardians, good mothers, good anybody that has to be. We have to get more hands on in our future and our children. The fact that and that's look, that's what it's all about. I agree with you, man. I agree with you on the fact that, as you said, like curses and things like that. Maybe it's being a time, but I do believe in that stuff, man. I think we sometimes we're some of those sins are carried over generationally, but someone's got to break it. Someone's got to be the guy who's going to turn everything around, which is definitely you in this case.
Yes, absolutely, brother. And my book, I talk about faith, family, health, hustle, and purpose. Those are my five pillars. That's what I live by. That's what I'm pouring into every day. That's what I'm teaching people in my program. And that's how we celebrate and that's how we embrace this abundance.
And abundance comes from God. I mean, I'm not ashamed to
All
say
through
that.
God,
So,
all through God. It all starts with faith, complete surrender of everything, no matter what. Like even my life. If he wants my life, then that's what it's supposed to be, complete surrender and trust.
right, shed the ego, shed all the things. It's just like I kind of make the analogy of piece of metal that goes into a hot furnace, and then it goes through the heat, and then it comes out. The blacksmith's pounding it. Why? Because it's about a refining of that instrument, just like God refines us. Like we have to
Absolutely.
refine ourselves as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We actually, not to get off course, but at our treatment center, we're very uh, physical. We're very physical. So we have a whole gym. And part of what we talk about, we have like the sauna and we have the plunge. And like when we go into the sauna with the clients, it's about releasing, it's about releasing all of the blocks, the fears, the resentments. And in the sweat, we release that. But then when you plunge, it's like forging that steel. It's like all the stuff we release, but now we're bringing in all of that stuff that makes us strong. We have to go into that cold plunge. We have to breathe and focus and forge ourselves again. So pretty cool analogy what we do over there at Emotion. But just wanted to share that because we were just talking about that.
No, that's fantastic, and I have to make sure I thank Darren Prince and Matilda for sending you my way, man. I really didn't expect
Any of
such.
this?
I'll be honest with you, Frank. You punched me in the nose with this, but it's
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I'm so motivated. I feel like doing something big now with my life.
Yes, let's go. Because it doesn't, listen, fuck it. It's one life. Go all in. Maybe it's not one life. I don't know. Wherever I went isn't here. So it's a dream. So I'm like, create our dream. Stay in high vibration. We're antennas and we have frequencies and vibrations. I truly believe that's why all this stuff, that's why about all these people I'm meeting, because we're vibrations and frequencies. We're an antenna. And when the channels open, and we're truly in our purpose, and I believe like when we truly have our vision and we step fully into the purpose with God, then he opens up everything. Things start coming. It's
I
weird.
agree. I agree with you because I started noticing in my own life too when I started shedding some of the people that, and look, you know who they are. There's always those people that really shouldn't be in your life, but for some reason you keep them there. But when you
Yeah,
start to
no.
shed people, places, and things, right? You start to shed those
Yeah.
things, then the good people start to come in and gravitate towards you.
Yes, it's law of attraction. It's real. We're molecules and atoms that vibrate. We're energy sources all around us. And I know both worlds. I know how to attract the bad because I lived in that. But then when I started to put love out, I started to attract good vibrations. And I like being in that frequency way more than the other because I've been in both. I've lived in so many different worlds, so I see things differently because I've been at the bottom and then I've been with the top. So it's like I see things from all different ways and I'm able to like make an actual distinction of this frequency is so much better than the low vibration. And the more I'm focused on my growth and my evolution and my elevation, like the hard part about it is, Vince, like leaving those other people behind. But in order to fulfill my full purpose in life, they're not going to help it. So I have to cut them out of it. It's not even about it's right or wrong. It's my movie and it's my path in life and it's my fulfillment. And that's what it's about. It's like that's what it's about is fulfilling God's purpose for me. And sometimes it's as hard as it is. It's been for me is sometimes people will just leave your life for that reason. Sometimes you have to cut them out.
Sometimes it's hard because sometimes it's people that you really do care for, but you can't save certain people. Maybe you can get them to a certain point, but then that's all you can do. Maybe somebody else has to come along and bring them to another point. It's almost like, you're driving a bus and you can only get them so far with you because for whatever reason they're not there. But the sad thing is some people don't ever get it, and those people tragically don't make it. And there's a lot of people, I'm sure you grew up with, I grew up with, that they're going too young, man, because they ignored the lifeline, the help, the support, the coincidences.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I agree completely. I agree
So
completely.
with that, Frank, let's go ahead. Let's tell everybody about your business. Let's tell them about the book. Again, it's called Embrace Abundance. I please, really, you got to check this book out.
Yeah.
We're going to leave a link in the YouTube description box so they can go ahead and click on it. Please, I encourage everyone. But tell everybody where they can find you online as well as your business.
Sure. So my book is called Embrace Abundance. You could get it on Amazon. You could find me on Instagram at Frank Parisi 2011, as well as LinkedIn. Our substance abuse and mental health facility is called Emotion Wellness. It's a PHP IOP program in San Antonio, Texas for adolescents and adults. And like we're in network with every provider, basically. We take TRICARE. We work a lot with the military. Our founder and CEO, he's my business partner as well, Jason Turner. He's actually a Pat Tillman Award winner. He's ex-military as well. So we have an amazing program down there. So we're doing all that. And I also have a coaching program for fitness and mindset. And you could get that at frankparisi.com/coaching. So that's basically what we have going on. It's just constant growth, and everything that I'm doing, I'm serving, and everything that I'm doing, all my business endeavors is all about serving others and helping this planet, man, to bring hope so that others can have belief, because belief creates change.
Amen. And that's the key word, service. The more, and I notice in my own life, the more I do things for others, the more my life gets better. So all important points. Frank, you've been an outstanding, excellent guest, man. I'm so blessed to come to know you. I look forward to building a friendship with you
Me
beyond
too.
this interview, man. And I'll pray for you and your family. And I can't say enough about you, man. I hope anybody's watching this too. Motivational speaker. I think you would do great, especially with the young people out there in a lot of these schools. I think they should bring you on board to do as many in-person speaking engagements as possible. So I'm with you to help support in any way I can as well.
I appreciate you, Vince. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, guys, again, make sure you're going to click on the links. You're going to follow and support Frank. He's a great man here. And if you haven't subscribed already, please to myself. I'm on Instagram as well as YouTube. Vinny Presents. Our guest again, Frank Parisi, author of Embrace Abundance, motivational speaker, and just 100% stand-up guy. Frank, thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. I
All
want
right.
to